Good morning. My name is Jake Livingston, planning operations for Rocky Mountain Black, with a fire update for Cameron Peak incident for August 31st. Starting out with the weather, today we can expect temperatures in the fire area to be in the mid 60s. Relative humidities will be in the upper 20s. Winds will be out of the west. Earlier 12 to 18, and they'll be increasing with gusts up to 25, even up to 35 later this afternoon, and that's up on the ridge tops. We are still expecting rain to come in this evening, up to 1/10 of an inch, so we'll see if that happens. We're hoping it does. And then after that, we're expecting a warming and drying trend. So I'll just start out giving an update like I usually do, starting out in Division Alpha Zulu. This division is primarily in monitor status. They're checking the work that they've already done previously. And moving into Division Foxtrot, the majority of this indirect line between Crystal Lakes and the 103 road out in here, the majority of that is done. They had some equipment malfunctions yesterday. They got that fixed, so they expect to be complete with that indirect line with the machinery midday tomorrow. In Division Lima, this control line, this indirect line here, that is all complete, and they've started to move resources to different areas. Division Romeo, all those indirect lines along the Manhattan Road and east there, those are complete. They still are scouting out there to see if there's other options available, such as the Kelly Flats Road here. So they've identified that for possible future work. Additionally, south of Foxtrot, Lima, and Romeo, we have the 517 road, this road system here, and it ties all the way in back to H150. They're looking at areas to improve that road system, and then areas, there's a couple ridge lines there that they want to put dozer line to connect the roads together so there's not some big turns. So those big turns are hard to hold fire on if they need to in the future. That's why they do that. Coming around into Division Uniform, Pingree Park Road, that's all complete. Still just checking work that's previously been done there. We have Crown Point Road out here. As I mentioned yesterday, some of the machinery that was working up in Lima and even some from Foxtrot have moved to Crown Point Road. They're starting to work along the Crown Point Road, removing hazard trees and hazardous fuel accumulations along there. They've also got some hand crews that'll be moving in along that road system. Out by DP 377, just north of Browns Lake, that's where we've got the surge group. Their plan is to come off of the road with some hand line using chainsaws and hand tools, connect to the tree line, the tundra, which then ties into just open soils, open rocks, come along that ridge. There's a low-lying saddle there with a pretty heavily timbered area, a lot of beetle kill, and then they'll cut that out as well with a saw line and a hand line. But their idea is just to connect the upper elevation tree line areas and use it as a control line. So they'll be doing that operation over the next 3 to 4 days. We're still waiting to receive some information from their scouting out there, their gathering of information for us. As we come around into Division Whiskey, they'll have some discussions with Division Whiskey and the other cooperators, stakeholders in this area, and they're going to come up with some options to implement some line down off of the Highway 14 in the vicinity of Cameron Pass, and they're also developed some trigger points about when to put in that line. As you come around up to the north again, I mentioned yesterday Branch 5, we have some structure protection groups in the communities of Crystal Lakes, Redfeather Lakes, Glacier View. We have resources moving into that area from Fish Hatchery Forward Operating Base. It's a staging area. When we get resources on the fire, we check them in, get their information, and then we'll send them to fish staging, we call it, and they just hold there until they get assignments. So as Branch 5 scouts out this area out there, they'll pull equipment, engines, crews out of staging to move up in there and start their operations. So they're assessing these communities out here, just seeing what they have, coming up with equipment needs for the future if need be, and coming up with other plans. Structure group, Branch 5 structure is also working out in the Stove Prairie Road and the Buckhorn Road, 44 Road, and they're starting to prep along this road system here just to make another control line. And we still do have the structure group along the Highway 14 corridor. They have prepped structures with equipment down to the Station 2, Poudre Valley Station 2, DP 375 area, and then they've removed done some limbing and other fuel mitigation down to the Manhattan Road. And they're also monitoring what they've already prepped and improving as needed, monitoring this fire activity in the vicinity of the tunnel, just east of the tunnel. And it's still drying out. There's still visible heat all along the fire perimeter. Yesterday was a real big drying day for the fire, strong winds and just generally drier. But we are expecting that rain tonight, as I mentioned before. Our priorities on this fire are firefighter and public safety. So overall, what we're doing out in Branch 5 is assessing the structures in Crystal Lakes, Redfeather Lakes, and Glacier View and other areas. And we're planning ahead. Right now this fire isn't moving. It had rain on it, which is good. We hope there's more rain. We hope that it snows on this fire. But our concern is Chinook winds. I know historically in this area there are Chinook winds, and that's why we're planning so far out. And that's my update for August 31st. Thank you.